not working in here. Sometimes it does. Sometimes my phone works in here. It wasn't working out front though, so.
Mine automatically goes on to infinite.
Mine set up
6:30, I'm gonna call it to order.
Call me if I don't hook it up to the internet. You're all for 40. Everybody else. Well, everybody was senior. That's right. That's right. 60, 50. Okay. You said you will. Didn't get much out of it.
No. Those are AP. The other ones are payroll. Thank you. We've got 3 cemetery deeds. One is a swap, 2 lots for 2 different lots. The originals were purchased in 2009. They asked for different lots. So that one has the original deed attached. None of the others have anything attached. Tom, who signed on the treasurer's line.
She'll have to sign everything.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be a big deal.
I can go down and explain it to the bank if I have to.
Hopefully more signatures is better than less. intent to cut. Yield tax levy. These are the May account reconciliations and the May transaction report. There is no reconciliation for the sweep account. We have a new bookkeeper and she didn't know she needed to do anything with it. So I'll have that probably with the June stuff for next week, next meeting. That's all I have to sign.
Do the minutes.
5:29 minutes. Just the ones that we started discussing 2 weeks ago. Do you need another copy?
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from 5:29.
Abstain.
Did you guys bring the comments or the changes that you wanted to make to these?
We just got them late, we need time to look at them. I'm not gonna look through them now.
These are the minutes from May 29th. These are the ones that we started discussing last
I'm gonna
meeting.
abstain on that.
So you have nothing to add to them like you said last meeting?
No, I'm not gonna get into them.
Then I think we have to post them as a draft.
Well, they've already been posted as a draft because they were requested. They were requested in draft format. So they've been posted as a draft already. With no comments from the last meeting because nothing's been made formal. Nothing from you either, Eric?
Nope.
Okay. In this case, since you motioned, Jo Beth, do you sign them or nobody signs them?
I was just going with that same thought process, but it says approved, and the board didn't approve them. So I don't think so.
All right. June 10th, we need to,
I haven't even looked more.
that's fine. I started to put them together and send them last week, and I must have been interrupted when I went to combine Jo Beth's comments, which I said were going to be an attachment to the minutes. Because I had both in there, but I didn't have the combined file, so my apologies. We'll push it to the next meeting.
Employee retirement.
So Pasumsa came in and gave us their spiel.
I'm working on the state retirement and a 457,
What do you mean you're working
the
on
money
it?
difference. So I got both of them.
Okay. Well, the fees would be a huge difference.
Yeah.
And the 457B is almost $4,000 or $5,000 in fees that doesn't go to anybody but Pasumsic. The state doesn't have any of that.
But I got our HR department working on it right now.
Your HR department. I'm confused.
She's helping me go through
Your HR, we don't have I mean, Jeanette is our HR department here, so what HR department are you talking about?
that with the state.
At your work?
Yeah.
I mean, what type of a comparison are they doing? Because,
They're just
you know, it
comparing the
depends
two
on
of them
what people select for their
in the
investment.
price range. What it's gonna cost each one.
Well, I don't,
The cost difference between the two of them.
well, the contribution level hasn't been determined if we were to do a 457B.
The 457, you'd get a better return out of.
Well, I would think that it would depend on what you're putting it into. But the 457B also has $4,000 to $5,000 in fees that the state retirement doesn't.
In the long run, it does.
Excuse me?
In the long run, it does.
From who?
From the taxpayers.
Yeah, but Dalton not having
What's
state
the problem with
retirement
that?
isn't gonna affect the state taxpayers.
If she's doing
But-
the cost analysis on both of them, what's the big deal?
So I think if we're going to even consider a 471B, we need to get other companies in. I think that, you know, Tom, you started this. Have you reached, or Eric, you're pursuing it, have you reached out to other financial advisors to get something as a comparison to the Sunset?
See, we use E-Power.
Let's see, power.
It's like, for some sake.
Okay, I mean, there's also American Funds, there's Liberty Mutual, there's Robert Jones, there's a whole slew of investment companies. What struck me in their presentation were a couple of things. One is their fees, which I thought were high for a town with only 3 or 4 employees that would be participating. And the other thing is they only work with 6 municipalities total throughout Vermont and New Hampshire. I don't even know if they work with any New Hampshire municipalities. I think there were 6 with total for both states. When I looked at the surrounding towns, they all use the state retirement system. And that's where, if we're hiring highway employees, that's our competition in terms of recruiting and retaining employees.
Tom, doesn't Lancaster use a different one? Don't they use something different in Lancaster?
Not public comment.
So we're heading into July, so this was approved last year, the select board approved it last year. We're heading into July. By the time anything is done, no one will get anything this year.
So as I recall, for the state retirement board, they meet every other month, and they were meeting in June. So if we want to get something before them for August, if we want to pursue it, which the board voted to move forward with the state retirement. So that's what the board voted. That's where it stands right now. Nothing has changed from that. That was a vote.
No paperwork, no nothing brought out, and maybe you two would, no, I don't.
You were sent everything that everyone else was sent. You have all of the paperwork that has anything to do with the state retirement.
And what I'm saying is that the board did approve it, so that paperwork that we have, we should be sending forward instead of sitting on it. This was also something that was discussed at the town meeting when the town approved the budget, and there were nobody expressed a dissension.
I guess nothing at this point. We've been waiting 7 months, so we just keep kicking the can down the road. I guess it won't matter.
But I think we need to move, because as I said, we need to get it before the board if we're gonna actually move forward with what the town had agreed upon.
Funded for broadband. We met on the 20th.
So we had an updated meeting. You're gonna see the first map is the original one when this program started. And the second one is as of December 31st. Basically, it's indicating the different places being served, underserved, or not served at all. Just simple explanation, served is anything that's 100 megabytes per second download, 20 megabytes per second upload, okay? And anything above that. They do not consider wireless, cell, or fixed as a part of the mix when determining the location that is served or not served. They did receive the E91 data letter and said thank you. We are now maintaining data for any identified areas of gaps in service. This would cover any new developments not yet reported to E911, addresses that are not showing up when pre-registering with CCI Fidium at the address that was provided in the postcards we did. It's basically, if somebody received the postcard and has not tried to pre-register, we're asking to try. There's no obligation for obtaining the service. This is so it identifies the different areas that they need, okay? Anybody who has tried and their address is not showing, I'm asking that they reach out to me. I've given you my phone number for them to call, however you want to post that for them to know. And that's so that we can keep that record of who's actually getting a response and who's not about what service is available for them to attach with. In addition to that, the current work that has been going on, the schedule has been updated with the construction to start for September of this year for Dalton and Whitefield. Estimated completion would be mid-November. And Carol Miller, who is the director of the broadband initiatives, there's a few things to the title, is going to be looking at scheduling up a time to come before the select board sometime soon before that construction. And the next meeting for the committee is going to be September 26th.
Do you have any sense of the percentage of residents who applied to sign up already?
Not at this time. There is a mapping, which I think I provided the mapping address for all of you to go to. It's being updated constantly with the E911 information, but also there is a link where anybody who would like to try will be able to turn around and test what they've got currently, and they'll record all of that information and we'll have a better idea about who's served and underserved outside of what we knew from the different providers in the area, because this is combined, what's been provided by businesses, but also what people actually have when you do the ping tests through their site. So this is to be more accurate. And the E911, basically, congratulations to Dalton. You're one of the few towns that got up with the letters right away. There was only about 6 of us that actually have been received so far, and they're pushing to get the rest of them soon.
When I signed up, it was very easy. Didn't take long.
Yeah.
Very seamless.
I did know, did get a report from one resident where they're not on the list, so I've started keeping track of that, but I want to make sure we get that message out so that anybody who is having a hard time, they can reach out, we can go through it, I'll add them on the list. If it's an issue with them having access to be able to do it, we can turn around and see about meeting here. Well, I'll use my laptop for them to try and see if their address is on the system. Okay?
Building committee?
Bathrooms are done. Boiler room door is done, it just needs to be painted.
Police entry door,
No update.
no date. Adult area.
I received a signed license agreement back from Donna Madonna today. I know that there was a lot of discussion in the past meeting, so I'm not sure if it's something we're moving forward with or not.
What did the guy say about mowing it?
I haven't gotten a response from him on that yet.
No.
I think we, as a board, agreed to go forward with an agreement with her.
Yeah.
And I feel like, as a board, we're obligated, it would not look very good for us to pull back now. And when we did that, it was that volunteers would help to maintain it. So, Tom, you were getting a committee of volunteers together, as I recall?
I haven't yet, I was waiting for this to be, parking, we talked about that parking, are we recommending or having people park up here and walking down? Because of that sharp curve being a bad area?
That's what we discussed at a recent meeting.
Because it has to be noted somehow so that, you know, we're not responsible for somebody parking on the side of the road getting hit. Because that was an issue the last time we talked about it.
So we talked about a fence at the top, and I
Yeah.
believe that Mike Trudeau had volunteered to work with volunteers to put a fence up there.
There should be a sign.
Could have a no
If I can
parking
make
sign.
a comment.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
There should be a sign below it saying parking at the, in front of the town,
The old
the
town
old
building.
town hall.
Yeah.
You know, because that would make it a whole lot safer. Somebody went down there 3 days ago, and when they came out, their tires were squealing, and they had a hard time getting out of there, and it was a 4-wheel drive. Couldn't believe it. They got out, but it wasn't safe.
So what I'm hearing is we really need two things. One is, and I would add a third, we need a fence. I would say we need a no parking sign on that fence.
Yeah.
And then we need an addition to the sign that says there's parking available at the municipal building.
With that said, I have no problem with that.
I'll make a motion that we move forward
Second.
with it as planned, and that we rely on volunteers to build a fence, or order a no parking sign to put on the fence, to be at the cost of the town, and then I don't know the cost of a sign to, a customized sign that would refer people to park here.
You can pick up no parking signs.
Right, those are not much,
Right.
those are not, I'm not worried about the cost of that, I'm talking about a custom sign to add to the sign that's already there.
So the town will provide no parking signs, but what about the custom sign?
I'm not a painter. I'm not a sign painter.
I don't have any idea of the cost, whether it's $100 or 500, yes.
I've had some small signs made for the airport, and they're in the $50 to $75 range online. They're easy to do.
Okay. So with that motion, I add, in addition to picking up a no parking sign, that we proceed with a sign, having a sign made, assuming the cost is going to be approximately $100 less, I mean, it's 110 or whatever, you know.
So that's the budget for both signs? Approximately $100?
Approximately, so if it goes a little bit over, I
Yeah.
think it's fine.
All those in favor? Aye.
I,
We talked about issuing an abatement to her for that piece of property. I need a motion to do that.
Make a motion to abate the tax and property.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Right.
Transfer station then? Select board rules and procedures?
That's the same thing I sent out in March.
Solid waste tipping fees?
No update, nothing from Casella or Turnkey.
Any update on Casella's meeting?
Nope, they've not gotten back to me.
We did receive a PowerPoint for the presentation. I think we should post it online.
Did they have 3 different dates? They couldn't do the 17th because of whatever reason.
They had 3 dates initially.
Yeah.
And we chose a date, but then they couldn't do the date. So then they went to a different date, and we said okay, which was the 17th.
Then they canceled.
And then on Friday night, they canceled.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we post the presentation they provided to us online on the website.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I do that.
Usage public hearing?
That's the Army Corps public hearing on Wednesday.
Wednesday at 5, right?
Yep, it starts at 5. So the first half of the meeting will be them presenting. The second half of the meeting will be the public comment portion. So I'll be here at 5 o'clock on Wednesday.
Twin State Railroad, Trails Project.
I was asked by the board at the last meeting to draft a letter showing the board's support for the project.
Make a motion that we send this letter.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 MCC Transportation Improvement Plan?
This is the plan that was sent to everybody 3-4 weeks ago. And we were gonna look at it and provide feedback so that we could provide that to North Country Council.
Yeah, and that's where Adam needs to be involved on it, in that, because he knows the roads, whatnot.
Yeah, I mean,
I
everyone
think
was,
it's a good idea.
sorry. Everyone was gonna bring their ideas to the table. Adam said that he's looking at it. He wasn't able to make it tonight to discuss it.
I have a couple of suggestions. The first one, and I looked at the format, is, and the deadline for this is coming up soon, right, July 3rd?
Yes.
So I thought having bicycle and pedestrian improvements along 135 and 142 would be good to promote people's ability to walk or bike along those routes. Because right now, there's not a lot of room for
It's a little narrow.
it is. And I think it would help, it somewhat reduce the amount of fossil fuels, but really provide exercise and recreational opportunities for people, and as well as transportation. I mean, the goal would be the entire length of those roads was in my mind, but in terms of priority, I would think that the first priority would be along 135, or probably the intersection of 142, right by the boat ramp, up at least to the recreation area that we've been talking about.
That's Top Hill Store.
Or all the way up to the top of the hill store would be good. And that, I would think, would be a first priority.
Going across the street from the top of the store should have a crosswalk in it too.
Okay, that's a good one to add.
That's where the kids get off the bus.
I also thought in terms of the justification, it goes, feeds into the Rails to Trails program that we've supported,
Yeah.
and that will bring recreation, and recreational dollars to our economy, and it's a positive thing, so there's some of that for the justification. So that would be two things there, one with some priority in it. The third one, and so the second one is on the crosswalk that Eric suggested.
Mhm.
The third one is installation of EV charging stations.
What?
EV, electric vehicle charging stations. That's part of transportation infrastructure. And I thought, here's the municipal building, the country store, and I didn't know if there were any other locations that would make
So
sense.
the only thing I have a problem with that is who pays electricity?
There's a fee
There's a fee to use
when
them.
people use them.
That what?
There's a
there's a
fee to
fee.
use them.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how it gets paid,
Yes.
okay.
So I make a motion that we ask Jeanette to submit a proposal to North Country Council for these three ideas for transportation.
Along with hearing what Adam might have to add to it.
Yes, I'll definitely, along with that. And because we're not going to meet before it's due, we'll have to rely on her to,
Yeah, if I can get
Before it
anything
ends,
out of
yeah.
him before it's due, otherwise,
I mean, I think if you give him another year or two, he'll have a better sense of long-range planning, and quite frankly, I think we've been remiss as a community in not participating in long-range planning. You know, if we don't ask for some of these things, we're not gonna get them. Other communities will. So I made a motion.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
I do that.
Grant opportunities, clean energy solar.
there's no update for any of the three grants. Oh, never mind, I'm sorry. Joe Beth, solar.
Yes, I make a motion that we ask Jeanette to work on the grant application for the clean energy solar grants. We've already gotten quotes from that, and I think we probably have enough information to put it together. I think the deadline for that is August, the beginning of August, if I remember correctly.
I think one of the outstanding
August
things,
1st.
one of the outstanding things for that application was the structural assessment of the two buildings where we were proposing to put the system.
And is that a requirement? I haven't gone into enough depth. on
I
that.
haven't gone into enough depth either. It's very dry reading at 400 and some pages. So I can,
It's like 489.
something, yes, I can try and pick through and make a bullet point of what the requirements are. I know Melissa reached out to me and asked if we were moving forward with applying, and she said that she would be more than willing to help with the application.
She might be a good resource to find out if that is required.
Well, she asked me if we were doing the structural assessment, so I'm
So
going to assume that, because if you don't do the structural assessment and you apply and you get it, now you may have to do a new roof on top of it, and the solar grant, from what I recall, will not pay for a new roof or for structural support for a system to be mounted on a roof. There may be other grants that may cover that, but it's not within the confines of the solar grant.
So with my motion, I also motion we proceed with getting a structural assessment of the roof.
I'm personally, against the solar. I'm not gonna much out to you.
Why?
There's, I think a lot of it's a waste of money. There are different things that we look at, the cost of battery replacement, repairs.
Hold on, we're not talking about,
No,
but
you
we're not
asked me a
talking,
question.
but we're not talking about batteries, we're just talking about a solar array.
Yeah, but they need to know the whole picture. That's the point.
But no, there are no batteries involved in it, because the power company will buy the surplus.
But there's still in those, there's still the repairs, there's still, replacements. Where do you get rid of the old, panels? I just don't, overall, the big picture, I don't think it's a big enough savings to be doing it, but that's my opinion.
When we got the assessment, we were talking about basically covering the cost of all of our electricity. And the payback, I don't have the figures right in front of me, but was very short, especially if we get grant funding that will potentially pay up to 90% of the cost. I don't know how as a town we can not go ahead with it and be good stewards of the town's money.
What's the cost on it?
I have to look at that number.
What we wanted to do is, I think it was in the 130,000, 140,000 range, somewhere in there. Don't quote me on it, but I think it was somewhere for the two places.
I think it was closer to like 80,000 if we did the highway garage and the fire station, which would more than cover the town's usage plus some. And the grant, there's two different grants, where one, I believe, covers up to 70 or 75%, and then there's another grant that could cover the difference up to 95%. So with that, I think we were looking at the town's, the town being to the good in less than 8 years.
Right.
That's if everything is, if I'm remembering everything correctly.
That's my recollection.
It's somewhere around there. I
So
think,
the document should be laid out again, so we can refresh our memories. I think that would be a good idea.
well, that's fine, and we can do that, but at the same time, you've got 5 weeks to get a grant written, and it's, I mean,
It's over 400 pages in terms of the proposal, so it's, I think we need to move forward on it now. So I have a motion on the table to that effect.
I think the ground, I'm sorry, Tom, I think if we did the ground array at the highway garage, I think that combined with the fire department was close to like 100 or 110,000. We weren't looking at doing the ground because they were saying that the Department of Energy, or that they were frowning against that. One, because it's more legwork to get the permits, because then you have to go through DES and like wetland if you have wetlands near there. And then two, they would not cover the pre-work that was needed, like setting up the stands or doing the stands. We'd have to build those, and then they would just do the solar.
Did you mention that the roof is really not structural for that?
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But we had a preliminary assessment of the roof, and preliminary assessment was that it would be fine. that was with solar panel people, so it's just another step to make sure. So that if we get a structural assessment, then that will tell us, and then we can act on that.
I'd like to see the figures on it though.
I think I may have sent those out to you after we met at the old town hall.
They in that 448 page one.
No, that's the RFP.
So given that there's not a lot of time before because the grant application, I believe, is due August 1st, and these are not necessarily trivial to put together, I think we need to start moving forward. We can still look at it when we come to the point of submitting the grant proposal. But we need to authorize Jeanette to move forward with writing a proposal and getting a structural assessment of the roof to make sure we can do it.
So we're looking at that grant, if we decide nay at the end, we can deny it as a board, correct? Or is it set in stone?
No, because we need to authorize submitting it. So right now, we're authorizing doing the legwork to be able to submit it, writing a proposal, which is not trivial.
So essentially, the short answer is yes.
Thank you.
You have to, just like all the other grants, you have to formally accept them and sign off on them as the board.
So there are two things really. It's signing off on submitting the grant and then sign off on accepting it if we're awarded the grant.
So we'll have time to look over the numbers.
And the numbers could have changed. I mean, it was almost a year ago we started talking about this, so I don't know if numbers have changed.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Committee updates?
So this kind of spurred off from the last meeting when Evelyn Flynn had mentioned committees. Prior to this board's formation, the people that were on the committees just kind of gave an update. So I wasn't sure if maybe we needed to put it on the agenda to get updates on what's happening in the Conservation Committee and the Planning Board, so that the people that don't go to those meetings or aren't involved in those meetings but come to the select board have the option of having that, and then it also gives me the option of knowing what's going on. So I put that on here, wondering if maybe we could add those to the agenda somewhere so that we can have updates from the committees as if they're happening.
I didn't make the last meeting because of medical problems.
And that's gonna happen. I mean,
The time before that, we were working on the campground going up in Blakesley's Field.
yeah, so
Christina was there.
it would just be nice to have those updates. So, I mean, if you guys approve me adding it to the agenda, I'd like to add it to the agenda
No problem with it.
as a category.
I think it's a good idea.
I don't know if we need to motion for it or.
I'll make a motion that we add committee updates to the agenda.
No second, right? Aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
I do that.
Heating fuel contracts?
We got an email from CN Brown letting us know that they're looking to finalize enrollment in any pricing plans by October 15th. I know it's only June, but last year we were really close to not getting in. We did have a pricing contract with them for oil last year. We missed the opportunity for propane. So I'm not sure if you guys want me to discuss or talk to them and see what type of pricing they're able to provide for the 24-25 season.
The pricing might change between now and the fall too.
Yeah, it could, and that I think, you know, we kind of watched it and said, okay, oil's going down, going down, going down,
And then it shot back up.
and then it shot back up, but we was still, I think our price per gallon for oil was decent. I think it was like $3.12 or $3.09 or something like that. So
I think we should probably start looking at contracts, heating fuel contracts, and see where the other companies are as well. As I think C and Brown has been the lowest when we've checked the
Yeah.
past few years. But it wouldn't hurt to just reach out to other companies as well.
We don't know what the presidential race is gonna do to the oil.
nobody knows.
But I think it's a good idea to start looking.
Nobody knows.
Well, if we have to lock it in by October, we're not going to
Right.
have those
Yeah.
results, so.
So is that something you guys want me to start doing? Trying to get some pricing for oil and propane?
Yes. We'll make a motion. Start with the heat.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Right.
Sign that to Tillis and Ballfield?
So we were basically deeded the ball field from the Tillotson family quite a while ago. As long as we used it for recreational activities in town. I know it's not been used in quite some time. We continue to maintain it. The Tillotsons haven't said anything about it, which is great for us. The Dalton Neighbor Group would like to get the board's permission to have a sign made and posted, dedicating it to the Tillotsons. Kind of give them some recognition for giving it to the town. There'd be no cost to the town. The Dalton Neighbors Group would pay for it, and then hopefully do like a little dedication type, maybe ceremonial quick ball game and have hot dogs or something when we get it made and put it in place.
That sounds like a great
Yeah,
idea.
it does.
Just something to do for the town.
We got a motion on it, or?
I'll make a motion that we authorize the Dalton Neighbors Group to make and post a sign dedicating the ball field to the Tillotson. And I'll also, and including that, authorizing the Dalton Neighbors to organize a dedication, however they choose, whether it's a softball game and cookout or.
We don't think that has to be authorized. If it's a public area, they can do all that stuff and have a ball game and have a
Yeah.
cookout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, usually there's a facility use form probably. Maybe not for the ball field.
Probably not for the ball field, if we were doing something here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe back motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Thanks.
Public comment?
Public comment.
So I'm Christina Ennis from 541 Simons Road. During the public comment session of the select board meeting on April 29th, I asked what the rules of order were for people speaking out at the meetings, and I was told that we should wait until the meeting was open to public comment and also wait to be acknowledged before speaking. I agree with these rules. Yet, during that very discussion with the chair of the select board, snide comments were being made about me and to me out loud by another member of the public. Again, at the June 10th select board meeting, the same member of the public interrupted and inserted herself into another citizen's public comment, as well as made denigrating remarks about that citizen. So this is actually a common occurrence at these select board meetings and presents a hostile environment which makes citizens hesitant to speak up. Although it may be the public comment session, all comments should be directed to the select board following the rules of order. Without any action taken to correct this, the chair of the select board is being complicit in this hostility. According to the June 2019 Town of Dalton Board of Selectmen Rules of Procedure posted on our town's website, the chair shall preserve order and decorum, shall recognize persons wishing to speak, and shall decide all questions of order or procedure. Therefore, it is your responsibility as the chair to not allow this lack of decorum to be repeated. In addition, I cannot believe the disrespectful comments made by one of our residents of Dalton to another, as if that person holds himself superior to the rest of us. Although every resident of Dalton should have the right and the opportunity to hold discourse with our select board without being mocked, sadly enough, the disparaging remarks were made to a longtime resident of Dalton who is also a veteran who has greatly served our country. And you, Mr. Chair, need to step up to the plate and stop this bad behavior.
Anybody else?
I haven't seen the speed signs. I'm just wondering where they were.
One of the batteries needs to be replaced, and it takes a special bit to replace it. So I have a battery. I just need to figure out where my husband put my bit. Because I can't get the information off of it in order to put it back out. So they're going out. They're going back out. They just,
I was just wondering, I haven't seen them.
oh, they're coming. They're coming.
Anybody else?
Can I ask a question to someone in the audience? Kurt, you sent a message through the internet. I responded this morning. I don't know if you've seen your email today regarding something about a debacle with a piece of land on Nichols Road. I don't know what it's about. So could you elaborate so that I could provide you with an answer?
Well, there was a piece of land, but I thought it was on Nichols Road. The town erroneously sold. There was a tax. They took it over because of the taxes.
Okay.
And it was sold. The wrong piece of land was sold.
No.
That's what I understand.
Where did you hear that information?
I don't know.
Okay. No, there was no incorrect piece of land sold at tax deed. There were multiple lots on Nichols Road that were sold. And all of those transactions have closed and the town's been funded for those transactions. So I'm not sure where the information came from, and I wasn't sure what you were talking about, which is why I said, hey, maybe tonight you can just ask the question, but I figured if you didn't bring it up that I would.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no issue with any of the land that was auctioned.
Okay.
There was miscommunication with one piece of property, but it was not our issue.
Okay.
And it did not affect what we received as far as funding for what it was sold for.
Okay.
Okay?
Do we have any non-publics?
We do. We have 4.
I make a motion that we go into non-public.
I'll second that. And are they for?
They are all regarding legal.
I'll make a motion.
You did already.
I did already.
And I seconded it.
All those in favor?